Considering moving somewhere in Colorado? Well, you've come to the right place because we're about to dive into Colorado's 31 best cities to live in and or move to. So stay tuned. Hey everybody, my name is Landon Bellum. I'm the marketing manager and an associate broker with Mod Estate, which is a real estate brokerage that is located in Castle Rock, Colorado. And I am so excited for this video. I'm a Colorado native. I was born here. I've lived here for many years now. Not to say that I'm old, but I've been here for a while. I know a thing or two about living in Colorado and what good places are to live here. So we're going to be talking about, like I said, the 31 best cities in the state of Colorado to live in. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Consider subscribing, liking the video, and commenting below what your favorite or potential favorite Colorado city is. I'd love to see what you think below. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the top 31 cities in Colorado to live in. The number one city that we're just gonna knock right out right off the bat is Denver, Colorado. Now Denver obviously is the capital of Colorado. It has 700,000 residents and it continues to grow every year. In fact, Denver is a very popular city, not only in Colorado, but in the nation to move to. As far as capital cities go, Denver is pretty spacious. There's a lot of different forms of housing to purchase. You can get anything from obviously single family residences, luxury residences, condos, townhomes, old historic homes as well you can find in Denver. So there's a lot of options with housing there. Denver also, one thing that I like about it is that first off, you get a fantastic view of the Rocky Mountains. You can see the front range of the Rockies from about any place in Denver. There's also some great malls, great art, great culture in the city, lots of fantastic restaurants. And really, it's just a fantastic place to live and a fantastic place to be or work at. So Denver, it's gonna make it at the top of our list. We're gonna knock that one, like I said, just right off the bat. Great place, great city to live in Colorado. Now our second best city in Colorado to live in is my personal favorite, holds a special spot in my heart because it's where I grew up, where I went to high school, lived there for 15 years, Castle Rock, Colorado. Castle Rock is an up-and-coming Denver suburb. It's about 30 minutes south of Denver, and it's just a hub. There's tons of new housing, new developments, new communities. There's a giant outlet mall. There's any restaurant, any chain that you could ever wish for is in Castle Rock. Lots of great things. There's great recreational outdoor areas, zip lines, lots of fun things to do in Castle Rock, Colorado. Fantastic place to live. That's why it's going to make it at number 2 on our list. Number 3 is, it's often a place that I tell my wife, like, hey, in a few years, we're going to be living here. That's our goal. I love this city. Castle Pines, Colorado. Now, Castle Pines is located just like 5 minutes north of Castle Rock. And this is, luxury living, high-end single family residences at its finest. Castle Pines, beautiful city. Now, the cost of living there is obviously going to be higher because it is a more luxurious town. There's very fancy and high-end neighborhoods and communities and homes there. But what I really like about Castle Pines is that it feels like you're living kind of a mountain lifestyle. Like there's a lot of trees, open spaces. It's very immersed in nature. But you're only, 25 minutes south of Denver. You're only 5 minutes away from Highlands Ranch, Lone Tree, Parker, Castle Rock, some of these other really famous, really popular suburbs and cities that we'll talk about shortly. So it's just a great location and it's beautiful. Again, great parks, great views of the mountains, fantastic place. Castle Pines comes in at number 3. Number 4 on our list of Colorado's best cities to live in is Highlands Ranch. Highlands Ranch is another fantastic neighborhood, city. This is suburb living at its finest. This is a very coveted city to live in. It's got great residential areas, great communities and neighborhoods to live in, solid schools, great like shopping and things like that. Highlands Ranch, really good in terms of residential living. A lot of people really do enjoy living there. Number 5 on our list is actually where I am right now, and it's where my family just moved to just a couple months ago. Parker, Colorado comes in at number 5 on Colorado's best cities to live in. I love Parker. Parker's right next to Castle Rock. I grew up not living in Parker, but one of my best friends lived in Parker, so I was here all the time in high school, getting to know the city. Now it's a little bit different. It's kind of more on the eastern side of the Colorado cities and suburbs. So you don't really get, like, for example, if you were in Castle Rock or Castle Pines, if I even looked this way, you'd be seeing the mountains in the Front Range. So you don't really get quite as good of views in Parker. It's more on the Colorado's plains. It's a little bit flatter. But yeah, another city that is growing like crazy. Tons of residential areas, great new developments. It's a really, really good city to live in. I love it here, and my family loves it here. It's been a great place for us. Number 6 on our list of Colorado's best neighborhoods is Lone Tree, Colorado. Now, Lone Tree's a smaller town geographically. It only has about 10,000 residents that live in it because it's smaller, but this is like the entertainment hub. And also you could even call it like a business hub. So Lone Tree is what kind of engulfs like areas like Park Meadows. The Denver Tech Center isn't in Lone Tree, but it's very close to it. So a lot of shopping, a lot of opportunities like that. You can find some incredible luxury living there. Condos, you can also get higher end single family residences. This is a very expensive place to live because it is so immersed in like the economy of the Denver metro area. So the median home price here typically tends to be over $1 million. Recently, that's what it's been. So it's been a little bit crazy, a little bit more expensive. But if you're looking to kind of be in the midst of what's going on in the Denver metro area, shopping, restaurants, some of the best things to do, fun things to do right outside your door, then I would recommend Lone Tree, Colorado. Okay, number 7 on our list of the 31 best cities in Colorado to live in is Littleton. Littleton, Colorado is where I was born. I lived there for the first years of my life. This is a Colorado classic. That's how I always categorize it when I talk about Littleton. This is kind of like the classic suburb that a lot of people lived in, like my parents' generation lived in and loved, and then now they're starting to kind of expand and go live in some of the newer communities like Castle Rock and Parker, where I see a lot of people moving from Littleton to go to just because of their newer areas. But don't get me wrong, Littleton does have a lot of older areas, which a lot of people love. Like, you will see trees and giant luscious vegetation in Littleton that you don't get in some of these other areas like Castle Rock because they're just newer. So that's something that I think is really cool. But don't get me wrong either, there are still a lot of great new home communities in Littleton, like Sterling Ranch, which I would argue is one of the best new home communities in the state. It's located right next to Chatfield State Park, Chatfield Reservoir. Fantastic place to live. So Littleton, this is a special one. Very good place, great city to live in the Colorado area. Now let's go just a little bit north of Littleton, right on the, the western side of Denver is Lakewood, Colorado. Now Lakewood is another awesome city in the Denver metro area. A lot of people love it because you're very close to Denver. So if you work there, commuting's not going to be far or bad. And it's got much more affordable house prices than all of the cities that I've talked about so far. So Lakewood, great affordability, close to Denver, and what I love about it is that it's sandwiched right in between Denver, the state's capital, and the Rocky Mountains. So if you want to spend a lot of time in the Rockies, if you want to get some great views of the mountains, I mean, Lakewood's going to be one of the best cities to do that. Centennial, Colorado comes in at number 9 on our list of Colorado's best cities. And this is another really good one. It's located south of Denver. And again, you're going to find good housing prices there. Not quite as affordable as maybe Lakewood housing will be, or Aurora, that we'll talk about soon. But a lot of people love it because it's close to Lone Tree. It's close to the Denver Tech Center. And it's kind of just surrounded by many of these suburbs and cities that we've talked about, or that I will talk about in a second. So it's a great location. 20-25 minutes south of Denver. You're right next to Lone Tree, you're right next to Parker, you're right next to Aurora, you're right next to Englewood. So it's just a really good location, great city. It's got over 100,000 residents, so it's very popular. A lot of people live there. Good choice. Okay, coming in at number 10 is Aurora, Colorado. Now, Aurora it doesn't have the best reputation for reasons that we won't get into in this video, but what I will say is that Aurora does actually have some really nice neighborhoods, some really nice communities, and some really nice areas in it. So if you've heard bad things about Aurora, don't count it out. It's making the top 10 for our list because it's on that eastern side of Denver, very close to the Denver International Airport, very close to Denver. So commuting, very nice from Aurora. More affordable housing prices than many of the housing that we're going to be talking about in these 31 cities. So in terms of affordability, still some good places to live, and its location, it's making our top 10 list. All right, for number 11, we're going to be talking about Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs is the second largest city in the state of Colorado. It's got over 400,000 people, and it's almost like the capital of like the second capital of Colorado. You know, it's a totally different culture, totally different vibe than Denver, located about an hour and a half south of the capital. It's like its totally own separate state. It has its own area codes, its own radio stations. So different than a lot of these cities that I've already talked about, but it is great. There's so many great things to do. Housing is way more affordable in the Springs at this stage, although real estate prices are jumping up very quickly because it is such a popular place to choose to live in nowadays. But affordability, tons of things to do, amazing national and state parks. I mean, Colorado Springs, there's just so many good things about it that we won't jump into in this video, but I've got many more videos coming about the Springs. You'll see them soon. Monument, Colorado comes in at number 12, and it's located right in between Castle Rock, which was number 2 on our list, and Colorado Springs, which was number 11. So a lot of people like it for that reason. In fact, a lot of people are moving to Monument to still commute to Denver, which, you know, it's going to be about 45 minutes to an hour drive to Denver, but it is beautiful, totally immersed in nature. So if you don't mind that commute and you work in Denver, consider Monument. Not that bad, but great place, like I said, very close to the Springs, close to areas like Castle Rock. Really beautiful. It's located just nestled right in to the Rockies, just on that western side of I-25. Great city. Now, jumping back up to the Denver metro area, number 13, we're talking about Englewood, Colorado. Englewood, also very affordable, very close to Denver. I don't have much else to say about it. A lot of people don't tend to work in Englewood. It's not usually where the jobs are. People live in Englewood because they work in other cities nearby, like Denver, Aurora, Lakewood, Littleton, and they just want the affordable housing. So not a ton of amazing new developments, I wouldn't say not the most coveted location, but it is really good and makes our list high up on our list because of its great location and its great affordability. Here is one of the most fun ones on our list, Greenwood Village. Greenwood Village is Colorado luxury living at its finest. Most, if not all, of the homes in Greenwood Village are selling for well over $1 million. You can find homes selling for multi-millions in Greenwood Village. It's a cool, very, very cool place. Fantastic estates and residences, places to live there. Very neat. The Denver Tech Center located in Greenwood Village, so that's a big draw for people to live there. This is a cool one if you have the budget for it. I would really look into it. Boulder, Colorado, probably a city you've heard of, whether you're a Colorado resident or watching this video from out of state. Boulder is a very popular Colorado city. It's located on, the western side, so nestled right into the mountains. The western side of Denver is what I meant there. CU Boulder, very popular, very highly rated school is located there. It's kind of a college town, very modernized town, very trendy. So very interesting one. Housing prices are very high there, but if you can afford it, you will very much enjoy the time that you spend in Boulder, that is for sure. Fort Collins is next on our list of top cities to live in. And Fort Collins and Boulder kind of have a little bit, I would say maybe even a rivalry. Like I said, CU Boulder is a university in Boulder. And then CSU is a very popular Colorado university in Fort Collins. So a lot of people tend to rival between those two schools, which one's better, which one has the better athletic programs. I won't talk about that here, but just know that Fort Collins is a northern Colorado city, closer to the Wyoming border, north of Denver. Solid place to live. Again, college town, big town, very trendy, very modernized, cool place to live. A lot going on up there, so check it out. Now, let's go ahead and jump into some mountain Colorado towns and cities to talk about. We'll have more later on the list, but right now let's start off with Vail. Vail is a very luxurious community. It's a ski town, a mountain town, very awesome, high prices, luxury living, cabins, things like that, all sorts of cool real estate things going on in Vail. A lot of people go there more for tourism, but living there, that's something special, so you'll have to check it out if you want to live somewhere in the mountains. Number 18 on our list is Superior, and this is a suburb of kind of the Boulder area. It's kind of up in that, north of Denver, northwest, I believe, of Denver. It is one that's, it's a cool nugget. It's a cool special city that's growing, a lot going on there, and it's going to continue to develop and become a very popular city to come. So that one I put on the list because it's on the horizon to become one of the most popular cities in the state to live in, so stay tuned for that one. We're going to be sticking with that theme of cities and suburbs north of Denver for a little bit. Let's talk about Lafayette. This is another city in that north of Denver area, very popular, northern Colorado. A lot of cool things, new developments going on up there, so that's another cool one to check out, coming in at number 19 on our list. Number 20 is Windsor, another northern. This is more north and not so much like northwest. North, so this is more of a suburb of the Fort Collins area. Windsor, if you want to live near Fort Collins but don't necessarily want to be in Fort Collins, this could be a really cool option for you, so keep that one in mind. Jumping way south, way past Colorado Springs, Pueblo. This is another one that doesn't have the best reputation among Colorado residents. Don't listen to all of that, because that doesn't mean that it's a terrible place to live. There are great communities there and affordability at its finest. If you want affordable living, housing that just hasn't gotten hit by the Colorado spell of expensive housing, a lot of new places down there in Pueblo. It's growing. There's some cool stuff. Now, there might be some places that you want to avoid in Pueblo. That's not what I'm talking about. You can look that up later. That's on your own stuff. But this city has a lot of potential, and it's getting better and it's growing. Lots of cool opportunity there. Number 22, Louisville. Now, this is another Boulder suburb. Smaller town. I believe it only has about like 20,000 residents or so, but it's growing. It has not the best affordability with housing prices, but that's because it's a really solid place to live, really close to the Rocky Mountains. Good option. Look into that one. I think that's a cool one if you're looking to live near the Boulder area or northwest of Denver. I would look at that one. I would give that one a really good consideration. Another one, number 23, that holds a special place in my heart, Golden, Colorado. Now, after I was born and lived in Littleton for a few years, my family moved to Golden. Golden is it's a gem that's on the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. So, I mean, you could literally get on the highway and be right in the Rockies within 5 minutes from Golden. That's what a lot of people really love about it. You know, we would look out the window in our backyard and in the park right next to our house, and we would see herds of 50 plus elk. So just a really cool and special place to live. I love Golden. Housing prices are more expensive there because of its location and how cool it is to be in the right on the brink of the Rockies. But that's a cool one. That's a really, really cool town. Now, coming in at 24, this isn't necessarily a city in and of itself. We're talking about Cherry Creek here. Cherry Creek, I suppose, is more of a Colorado region or area. But I threw it on the list because the Cherry Creek area is super cool. So obviously there is the Cherry Creek State Reservoir. I'm kind of talking about the region that's around that Cherry Creek area. Everything that feeds into the Cherry Creek School District is solid. That's arguably the best school district in Colorado. It's definitely the best school district in the Denver metro area. So Cherry Creek, that's a cool special area, a little more higher end luxurious area, but really, really cool. 25, Longmont, another northern, or north of Denver, I guess I should say with those. Colorado City, definitely one to look into if you're looking for North Colorado living. Westminster, this is another Denver suburb that is located more on the northern side. So a lot of the first ones on our list were southern Denver suburbs. This is a northern Denver suburb. You're going to find that North Denver suburbs and cities are more affordable than South Denver suburbs and cities. That's just something to keep in mind. Westminster is one of those. So big city north of, north of Lakewood. A lot going on there, a lot of new developments, new communities, new opportunities there for you. So check that one out. Thornton, North Colorado City. I remember going there as a kid, and they had some hot springs up there. Very cool. I have fond memories of Thornton. Definitely cool one to check out. Kind of closer to the northern Fort Collins area, closer to the Wyoming border than it is to Denver, I'd say. So cool one to check out. Love that city. If you were to ask me, Landon, if you were to live in the Rocky Mountains, what city or cities would you choose? I would choose Frisco or Silverthorne. They're kind of one and the same, I'd say. I mean, they're different cities, but it's hard to tell which one's which. It's kind of just this area, this little beautiful valley right off of I-70 in the mountains. Frisco and Silverthorne are beautiful. It's almost like you took a Denver suburb like Castle Rock, and plopped it in the mountains. You got an outlet mall out there, all sorts of shopping and dining and restaurants. Very modernized mountain town. A lot of them have kind of like this old westerny feel, but Frisco and Silverthorne, very modern, very residential. It's not just like ski resorts everywhere. So very cool if you want to live right in the heart of the Rocky Mountains. Okay, sticking on that Rocky Mountains theme, 29 comes in as Conifer. Now, I actually worked in downtown Denver, just right in the heart of downtown Denver for a while. I had an internship out there a few years ago, and somebody lived in Conifer. The person that was right next to me at my desk lived in Conifer, and I was like, how the heck do you live in the mountains and commute to Denver? She's like, it's actually not that far. It's not that bad. So I think it took her 30 minutes most days to get to the heart of Denver, downtown Denver. So Conifer, special place because it's right on the end of the Rocky Mountains. You can get a home with some land, kind of more luxurious, spacious living, acreage, and not be that far from the metro area. So Conifer, really cool option for you. Okay, and let's talk about number 30, Greeley, home of UNC, which is the college that my mom went to. Another great town. It's not my favorite because it kind of smells like pig. They have a lot of whatever you call it, pig farms or factories up there. But it is a good place. You're going to find affordable living there. Northern Colorado, closer to Fort Collins, good option. And then coming in at 31 is Arvada, which is another North Denver suburb, very close to Westminster, Lakewood, that kind of area. Another good option for you to check out, especially if you're looking for Denver suburb living. All right, that's going to wrap it up for me today. Again, my name is Landon Bellum. I'm the marketing manager and an associate broker with Mod Estate. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found some value in it, and I hope you move here to Colorado. If you have any real estate needs here in the Denver metro or the greater Colorado Springs areas, we're here to help you at Mod Estate. We'll see you on the next videos.